If you want to move away from modern medicine, if you want to discover healthier alternatives for your family, if you want a healthy body, then you're in the right place. Hey beauty, I'm Alexandra. I'm an author and clinical research nurse who discovered that Jesus is the source of true healing. I am the Lord your healer. Exodus 15:26. Hey beauty, welcome back to the show. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been feeling tired, stuck in your health, or just overwhelmed with all the noise out there about what you should be doing, I've got something that will help. I created a free guide called Feel Better Naturally, Faith-Based Steps to Start Healing Your Body Today. It's simple, practical, and rooted in biblical truth, not fear, fads, or hustle culture. You can grab it right now at herholistichealing.com/free. It's totally free. Let's get into the show. I gotta say, I love the United States. I love living here. I call the US my home. I love the Western world, but we get things wrong. No culture is perfect, right? This goes for the United States as well. In this episode, I wanted to discuss how America deals with three different issues. The first issue is, for lack of a better way to say it, being quiet versus being loud. The second issue is aging, and the third issue is health. I want to use these issues to show you how you can be countercultural when it comes to your health. So the first issue is being quiet versus being loud. We are taught to speak up. We are taught to post things online, post all about our lives. I think that in school, children are praised if they talk a lot, if they speak up. Even in corporate America, I remember one of my supervisors telling her, one of the people that worked for her, she told her, you have to be more visible, you have to speak up more. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's wrong to be loud or to speak up or to talk a lot, but it just seems like if a kid is quote unquote shy, or if they're an introvert versus an extrovert, they're it's almost like people think that there's something wrong with them. And first of all, a lot of people don't really understand the definitions of extrovert and introvert. But the point is that if a child is quiet or if they seem shy, adults in the Western world tend to think that there's something wrong with them or that they need to get them to speak up more. It's interesting because in other cultures, it's not the same way. In fact, sometimes it's the quiet kids that are seen as more trustworthy. These kids are sometimes seen as providing more, quote, value when it comes to friendships. Now let's look at what the Bible has to say about this. Proverbs 17:27-28. Whoever restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. Ecclesiastes 5:2. Be not rash with your mouth, nor let your heart be hasty to utter a word before God. For God is in heaven, and you are on earth. Therefore let your words be few. Proverbs 10:19. When words are many, transgression is not lacking, but whoever restrains his lips is prudent. James 1:19. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Proverbs 13:3. Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. He who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. So as you can see from these verses, it seems like God really wants us to watch what we say. He wants us to listen first. Remember that saying? I don't know who says it, but basically God gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason. I think that he wants us to listen more than we talk. Isn't this kind of the complete opposite of what the Western world teaches us, of what the Western world tries to bring out in our kids? Let's bring up the next topic, aging. In the Western world, we value youth, we value beauty. I remember when I was younger, people around me used to say, man, when after 21, it's all downhill from there. That's basically what we're taught, right? We are taught that you are valuable if you are young and you're talented, if you're a celebrity or something like that. In the Western world, we think, oh, senior citizens don't have much value. Other cultures don't view the elderly in the same way. For instance, in Japan, they have a respect for the aged day. In other cultures, in India, and Native America, China, so many Asian cultures, in African culture, in Greek cultures, these cultures tend to value the elderly. I am an Asian American. I honestly don't know if my parents taught me to respect the elderly. I don't know if it was just something that I learned. It was just something that I knew. I just feel like we treat the elderly differently. Whenever I see an elderly person, I just want to respect them. I want to honor them. I just treat them, I guess, better than the other people because I respect them because they're older than me. Part of the reason I'm bringing this issue up is because this is something that I've been struggling with. And I feel like it's something that the church doesn't really talk about. The thing is, I don't really consider myself as an older person, but I mean, my oldest child is 12. I mean, depending on what your perspective is, I'm not really a spring chicken anymore. But as I was saying before, even when this must have been, I don't know, 2010 or something. So years ago, even back then, I was concerned with getting older. I was concerned about my appearance. I was concerned that just life wouldn't be as fun anymore and I wouldn't get opportunities. I honestly felt like life would just be downhill after a certain time. And I have a feeling that you can relate because this is a lie that we're fed in our culture. So let's look at what the Bible says. Leviticus 19:32 says this, "You shall stand up before the gray head and honor the face of an old man, and you shall fear your God. I am the Lord." Proverbs 23:22. Listen to your father who gave you life, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Also, one of the 10 Commandments is honor your father and mother. It says, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Proverbs 16:31. I love this verse. It says, gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. And also Titus 2 talks about how older women are supposed to train and teach the younger women. So if you're like me and you get concerned about looking older, getting older, I just want to encourage you. I want to say that God doesn't view your aging the way the culture does. As we grow older, we become wiser. And the younger people need women like us who have had diverse experiences. We've been through trials. They need us to teach them what we've learned throughout the years, what we've learned from the Bible, what we've learned from God, what we've learned from our mistakes. And we are beautiful, even if we don't look like we're 18, even if we don't look like those women on billboards who are probably photoshopped or they're probably using AI now to make the women, I don't know, even more quote beautiful, more like robots. We need to have a deep understanding of our identity. We are daughters of the Most High God. We have that blessing no matter how old we get or what we look like. Let's move on to the last issue. Let's look at how the United States, the Western culture, views health. So, whenever we have a health issue, we're told to take a pill or to take out one of our organs. We are told to basically get rid of the symptom that we're having, even if it causes even greater symptoms. We come from a culture of convenience, fast food, fake food, cheaper food. We're told to just do what the doctor says. We don't need to use our brains because our doctors are smarter than us. They have more degrees. They've gone to more schooling than us. So we don't have to do the research. We just need to sit back and let the medical system take care of us. That is a complete myth. One of the myths that I talk about in my book, Discover God's Health Wisdom, Exposing 8 Common Myths That Keep You Sick. That's the Western world right now, right? I feel like it's starting to change a little bit, which is good. What I wanted to talk about is something that the Bible teaches. It doesn't really talk about health directly, the verses that I'm going to bring up, but I think instead of following the Western world's way of taking care of our health, I think that we should be going to God for wisdom first, which is why I wrote my book. We should be going to God for wisdom first, and we should also be diligent and disciplined and try to be as consistent as possible when it comes to healthy habits. Proverbs 13:4 says this: "The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied." Sometimes we can be sluggards, as it says in the Bible, when it comes to our health. Hebrews 12:11, "For the moment all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." 1 Corinthians 9:24 through 27. "Do you know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified." In this passage, it talks about how athletes exercise self-control. It also talks about disciplining our body. So instead of giving into what the flesh wants, what our body wants, sometimes it's best to get up and get some exercise, even when we're feeling lazy. Sometimes it's best to forego the convenience, actually go to the grocery store, look up healthy recipes, so that we are not bombarded by all the chemicals and everything in the fast foods that are all around us. So, as I've said before, I truly love the United States. I love the Western world, but just like any other culture, we don't necessarily do the wisest things or believe the wisest things. So, when it comes to issues like being loud or being quiet, issues like aging or issues like health, I really hope that you will use the Bible. I hope that you go to the Bible to see what the truth is, continue to meditate on the truth, and if necessary, don't live the way our culture lives. Do something differently. Believe the truth instead of a lie. It is so much wiser to go God's way instead of the world's way. Thanks so much for listening today. If today's episode resonated with you and you're ready to take that first step toward healing your body naturally without stress, guilt, or confusion, I'd love to invite you to grab my free guide, Feel Better Naturally. It's full of faith-based steps. You can start today to support your health the way God designed. You can get it at herholistichealing.com/free. And as always, thank you for being here. I'm cheering you on. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for listening today. If you like what you heard, would you take a minute to leave the show a review? If you want to connect with me, you can go to my free community. The link is tinyurl.com/holistic sisterhood, or you can go to herholistichealing.com. Matthew 11. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls.
For you is easy and my burden is light.
This content is for informational purposes only and is not meant to be medical advice.